always want to start off with like, how are you guys? But then you're not here to answer me, so it's kind of silly. You guys ready for another archetype? Huh? All right, we have to start with a disclaimer on this one because I'm not judging. So you can, what in the world is flying overhead? Big old helicopter. So don't even go there because I'm not, all right? B, this is definitely my own take on this archetype. Now, all of these archetypes, this is my own take, but some of them match a little bit better with what some of the big archetypers out there have said. This one may not, especially the light of this archetype, may not match up with what other people think. But I promise you that I have watched this archetype play out multiple times. And it is not, I feel like a lot of these things that I see, the other people who do our archetypes are not seeing exactly the same thing. So, Dawni Angel's unique take on the Beggar archetype. So that's what we're doing today. We're talking about the Beggar. So, as soon as you hear that word beggar, what comes up for you? Because what I've noticed about certain archetypes is people have a fear of being this one. People have a fear of being the martyr. They have a fear of being the victim. They have a fear of being the prostitute archetype, which we will get to soon. But they have a fear of being the vampire archetype, which we'll also get to soon. But they really have a deep, triggery fear of being the beggar. So what happens with this one is this is one of the archetypes that people rarely admit to. But if I have had one time where someone with a beggar archetype came to me to do their archetypes and they just would not own it. They absolutely would not own that was their archetype. So here's the shadow. Put my coffee down for a minute. I had to have my London cup today because so missing London and Scotland today. I woke up with a little ache in my heart. Do any of you have that? Do any of you have an ache for somewhere that you just long for? Because that's how it is for me. Anyway, Beggar archetype, the shadow is that they are often broke ass bitches. That's the politically correct way to say it. Here's the thing. The Beggar archetype is not just about money. But I will tell you that very, very often people with the Beggar archetype struggle financially. And it's a pattern. Like we've all had times where we've struggled financially, right? Most of us, 99% of us. Right here, you guys watching this, most of you will have had times in your life where you struggled financially. But if financial issues are a huge pattern for you, or when you're thinking about someone else like, oh, my uncle really has this one, or, oh yeah, my friend always has this one. It's just like money troubles, really hard time getting it together. But there's also an element of the Beggar archetype where they just feel energetically like they're begging for something. They're begging for attention. And if they're not doing it outwardly, right? But there's just always that kind of pull. These are the people that when you're around them, you often feel like you want to fix them, especially if you're a healer archetype. They're just needy. And which there's nothing wrong with that, but sometimes the element of need can repel, can push people away. But honestly, as I've watched this archetype play out in people in my life and with clients, it really is often financial. So I don't know how I'm going to pay my rent this month. I can't figure out my car payment. And there's always a good reason. And here's the thing. There is a light side to this archetype that is meant to be used as the medicine for this archetype. So the light side of this archetype is, I swear to you, 99% of the people who have the Beggar archetype are the most generous people you've ever known. And generous to a fault, which then pulls the generosity back into the shadow. So these are the people who will, even though they have a car payment due the next day, will give money they don't really have to a friend in need, or give money they don't really have to a charity, or buy something for somebody, like give a really generous birthday gift. And you're over here going like, what are you doing? You have to pay your car payment tomorrow. So it is especially hard to be married to someone with a beggar archetype, or to have a really, really close, like if they're your parent or your child, it can be extremely frustrating if you don't have the archetype but they do, because it feels like they don't make wise decisions with money, but it's almost always from a place of them wanting to be generous. So it kind of goes something like this. Like, let's say if I had the beggar archetype, which I actually don't, but I'm pretty aware of my archetypes, and this isn't one of them. But let's say I did have the beggar archetype, it would look something like, I never want anyone to feel how I feel, so I want to help them not feel how I feel. So here's the reality of this. What the medicine for this part of the beggar is for you to be that level of generous with yourself. So how you're wanting to create for other people, give that same energy to yourself. Does this make sense? So put yourself first as the beggar archetype, not in a way where you're playing the victim, because there can be some victim and martyr in this. Not in that way, not in the way where you're like, people owe me, but in a way like, I'm going to focus on myself for a while. And this especially happens when you have the healer archetype and the beggar archetype in the same arcana, or the beggar archetype and the martyr archetype in the same arcana. They want to first save everyone else and neglect their own lives. And what I'm here to tell you is the medicine for this is you putting your own life first. Your own workability first. So this doesn't look like, well, I'm going to put myself first and I'm going to go buy myself all new clothes even though I can't pay my rent. No, this looks like I'm going to put myself first, stop taking care of all my friends and everybody else. And a lot of these people will like take care of their grown children way past where it's healthy, you know, in a way that crosses their boundaries, but their boundaries are wishy-washy. No. You need to put, if this is your archetype and you're in the shadow with it, you need to give yourself the generosity of time and space and effort that you're giving to other people and give it to your own life. That is the medicine for that part of the beggar archetype. The other light side of the beggar is confronting, like really confronting, for the people who are willing to do fearless inventory and say, where am I waiting for somebody else to save me? So you'll hear crossover with other archetypes, damsel in distress. Where am I blaming other people? Victim, which we have not done yet. But we have done the martyr, right? So where am I so down on myself and self-deprecating that I'm not stepping into my power? So part of the light of the beggar is for when people are able to confront it and step into their power with it. Holy cow, they are so empowered. They're like, you know what? I used to be here. Now I've stepped into the light. I'm not the shadow of the beggar anymore, but I am the light of the beggar. So I'm empowered and I'm generous. So people that have really, say somebody really struggled in their 20s and 30s financially, but they stepped into their own power, got their lives together, and now they are generous to other people without being enabling. That's the light of the beggar. So, being totally real with yourself, gotta bring my coffee back into this situation. Being totally real with yourself, is this your archetype? Because if it is, I just taught you what to do about it. Now, is this somebody else's archetype in your life? I guarantee we all know at least one beggar. So if this is somebody else in your life, then what you want to do is, without enabling, remember short-term empathy versus long-term empathy. You want to find ways to empower them. Give them opportunities. So say like you are, I don't know, moving. Say that you're moving and you're going to pay somebody to help you move. Maybe choose somebody with this archetype and give them an opportunity to, make some money but to do it in a way where there's an energy exchange. Because you guys, I promise, when you just willy-nilly give money to this archetype, it's like a black hole. It never makes a huge difference. You want to help empower them to step into their own greatness. Anything you can do for someone with this Beggar archetype to step into their own greatness. Now, I'm not telling you, no, don't give $5 to a homeless person. Absolutely, sure, do that. But when this is somebody who's a big part of your life, number one way to help this archetype empower, give opportunities to. So I love the generosity of this archetype. So that's the final thing I'm going to say. I'm just going to repeat. If you are the one who's the beggar, take some of that wonderful generosity where you would give the shirt off your back and give that to your damn self. All the time you're spending on fixing other people's lives, pull that energy back in and give it to yourself, and so you can build yourself a powerful, wonderful foundation. I hope that didn't feel judgmental to you guys, because I'm not judging. I have had times in my life where I have had to ask for help, where I have been really needy, where I have not been doing well financially. I get it. I really do. It's hard. And these are hard when they're your archetype. They're hard to bring out of the shadow. If this isn't something you struggle with, it can sound to you like, oh, get out of the shadow with that. But look at your own archetypes. How hard is it to get out of the shadow? So this is about us coming together, working together to empower each other. I love you guys. May your coffee be strong and your life be blessed. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please like and subscribe. It really helps out my channel. And if you would be interested in working with me further, you can check out DawniAngel.com. I would love to come speak to your group, come to your business to do a training, be on your podcast, my personal favorite, or even work with you one-on-one.